Hey folks, it's Rithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Pacific Inlet here in Farming Simulator 17. We have got a lot of wood chips scattered all over the place here. And from the comments from last week where I was talking about possibly not gathering up all the wood chips, most of you are absolutely horrified at this idea because I'm supposed to be doing things properly and, you know, there's a lot of money really that's laid on the ground. So, okay, duly noted, I will be gathering up the wood chips. Slow and steady. That's what we got to do. We got to gather up absolutely everything. Now, I have been seriously considering how I'm going to continue on with this series in our next game in FS17 and what we're going to do. Now, obviously, this map here, I've gone and looked at FDR logging. I've gone and looked at his channel. He's got loads of mods that he's made for himself. This guy is absolutely obsessed with forestry. Right, he's 100% all about forestry. He loves it. He thinks it's amazing. And he has made a lot of mods from scratch, all kinds of different machines for the game, which is absolutely brilliant. And so basically he has just gone along and said, well, I really like this, so I'm making all of these things for me. You guys can use them as well if you want, but, you know, he's not particularly concerned about that. It's for his own benefit, from what I can see. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. He's gone and created these amazing things purely so that he's got the things that he wants in the game, and I absolutely love that. That's one of the things that I like about this game anyway, is that you have the ability to go and do that. You know, you've got the potential for being able to go and do something like that. So I would be genuinely surprised if he doesn't make another map for FS19. And if and when he does, I would very much like to sort of carry on with this series on another map. But what do I do to start with? Now, this is something that I've been thinking about, and I've been thinking what I'll probably do, actually, is I'm going to be doing the time-lapse on one of the maps. So, as far as we know, there are going to be 3 maps. We're going to be having the Estancia Lapacho map. That one's coming back, slightly reworked, but it's still the same map. And then there's 2 new maps. There's one set in the States, and there is one set in Germany. It's Felsbruck in Germany, I think. So what my plan is, the time-lapse is going to be the one in Felsbruck in Germany, and then I'm hoping to do the Let's Play on the US map. And you're probably saying, well, hang on a minute, well, aren't you going to be doing 2 Let's Play series? Well, I'm not going to start with. I'm going to do just 1 Let's Play to start with, but, you know, do it for 6 episodes. So it'll be the same Let's Play that we'll work through for a little while on the US map until I get some new maps coming out, and then we can sort of change things around a little bit. We know that you can build most of the farm from scratch in the new game, and so I sort of wanted to do that right from the beginning. We'll do quite a realistic gameplay and build all of our farm up from scratch. And so I sort of thought, well, we'll do that all the way through. And then my style with the other series, where I'm just looking at a map for 4 weeks and then moving on to the next one, there's not going to be enough new maps out there to be able to do that to start with. So rather than attempting to do that, I'll not do it at all, and I'll just sort of stick with 1 map for a little while. And then once we've, probably after Christmas, we'll be looking at then getting some new maps going and seeing what else other people can come up with. So I don't know what you think of this little idea. Let me know in the comment section down below. We'll see what we can do to make any adjustments to said plan. But that's roughly what I'm thinking of doing at the moment. So we'll be able to have a really good in-depth look at the first map that comes out. And also I'll be doing the time-lapse on one of the other ones. And that way I'm not going to be doing a Let's Play and the time-lapse on the same map, which is what I did last time round, and that was one thing that I didn't actually like doing, because I felt like I was repeating too much. And because we've already done a series on Estancia Lapacho, it's unlikely that I'll be doing a series on that one, at least to start with, unless there's some significant changes, in which case it may be that we do a 4-week session on there just to take a look at it at some point, but I don't have any plans to go on there at the moment. So that's kind of a rough idea of what's going to be happening. And then this series where we literally do everything from scratch with no loans, no nothing. We won't be quite doing it like this to start with at the beginning of FS17, but I will be coming back to a series like this where there'll be no leasing, there'll be no anything that is going to be in any way sort of making our lives easy, and no shortcuts, nothing like that. We'll be going right through doing everything the hard way, like I'm doing in this series, because it seems that so many of you really, really love this series, and I'm actually genuinely surprised that so many of you sort of like the way that I'm doing things here. So the plan today is I want to chop down all the rest of the trees. That's the first thing that I want to do, is I'm just going to go around and I'm going to chop down all the rest of the trees. And then once we've chopped them all down, we will go and get our trailer with the new Massey that we went and bought. And we'll start trying that one out. Now, I don't know at the moment what the Massey's going to be like. So we may end up deciding that that Massey is not really suitable for the task in hand, and so we end up getting rid of it and getting something else instead. I'm not quite sure at the moment. We've got money, alright? We now have money. We don't have loads, but we do have enough. We've got to keep in mind that we do have to have enough money to be able to buy machinery to be able to mow and everything else on the meadow here. Now, the other thing that we've got is we've got a stump grinder. We've got 2 stump grinders, and I did consider going around and individually grinding each of these stumps and then gathering up the wood chips afterwards. I've decided against doing that, but I will gather up all the wood chips that are lying on the floor. And once we've gathered all of those up and we've stockpiled them, because they're not on any kind of sale at the moment, then we will go round with that one there on the back of the Ford, and we will plough up this field and grind the stumps at the same time. So we'll be able to do both of those at the same time. But no, what I've gone and got today was a suggestion by a couple of people, was that I get the cleaner machines. We've got this one right here, and that one there is $6,000, which is not too bad, and it's got a capacity of 3,300. I've also got this one here, a portable bee house, which I thought was very cool. And we'll have a look at using one of those a little bit later on, but we're not going to worry about it at the moment. It's sold automatically, you earn money automatically, but you get bonuses depending on where you park it. If you park it next to a meadow, a grass meadow, you get a 20% bonus. If you park it next to a field of flowering rapeseed or canola, you get a 50% bonus, and if you park it next to a field of flowering sunflowers, you get an 80% bonus. So I really do like that. That is very cool. But no, it's this one right here. This one's got 3,350. This one here, it is 32 grand, but it has a capacity of 16,000 litres, which I thought was very nice, and that is a nice big capacity on that one. But yeah, this one's very good. 3,300 on that one. The little tipper that we've got at the moment, this one's got a capacity of, see, that one's got 4,000. It's probably, if the little one, we don't really want to use that one, right? Even though it's, it's convenient, it self-drives and all the rest of it. It costs more, and it's got a lower capacity. And it does pick things up, and you can pick up multiple items with it. That's a really good thing about it. But no, it's this one here that I thought was really good. 16,000 litre capacity. And it does have a 24-mile-an-hour speed on it as well, which is pretty good. And it's got the bar along the front, so it'll pick everything up by itself. 32 grand is a lot of money, though. That is a lot of money for a large vacuum cleaner. So I'm not really sure about that at the moment. But I got the mod anyway. I've installed it so that it's there ready for us to use. And we can have a serious think about that one, as to whether or not we actually go for it. I don't know. I may not get to it in this episode, which will give me a little bit longer to think about it. But I'm going to need to do something with it fairly soon. I'm going to have to make a decision before any of you get to see any of the episodes, actually, because, yeah, I'm hoping that this will be a ploughed field by the end of this week. Now, somebody did ask me if I could do like an aerial shot at the beginning of each week. I didn't do the aerial shot at the beginning of last week. I forgot to edit it in, actually. I did take the aerial shot, but I didn't actually show it the video. And I've got one this week, so I'll show you last week's as well at the beginning of the video, and I'm hoping that, or actually I might splice them in now, while I'm talking about it. Yeah, just a little bit of, that's how I know when to make cuts in my videos, because there's no way that I would have time to sit there and watch through the entire video. I go through on my audio, and every time I stop talking, I know that I need to put a cut into the video. So that's how I know. If I do something and I want to make a cut or I want to do an edit, I just stop talking for a minute so that I can pick it up. So that's what I've just done. So hopefully you should have just seen, or I should be putting them over the top of what I'm doing right now, the aerial shots for the last couple of weeks. Or for this week and last week at least. And then we can see about doing some more of those. Well, I'll try and get one each week, but I was actually thinking of doing like a compilation of all of them at the end of it, so you can just sort of see some progress. The one thing I don't like about it is I don't seem to be able to get a sort of, as I raise up so that I get a better, a bigger view, so everything goes out of focus. And so, like the trees and stuff, all the stuff that was lying on the ground, I couldn't actually see it in the shot, which was a bit disappointing. And, you know, I mean, I suppose overall it doesn't look bad. You can at least see the progress of where the trees are being cut down, but still, I wasn't entirely pleased with it. I did think about sort of looking at commands, cheats, you know, like the cheat commands where you can set yourself up to go and fly. I'll look at that more in FS17 if we come back to doing another series like this, so that I can get like some set vantage points and angles and that, and watch them over time. Somebody did suggest that I could use a second account and film it with a second account. That would require me doing it on a server, I think. But I mean, I don't have the money for a second game anyway at the moment, and I'm not sure how well that would work out because it would require a second PC in order to be able to do it. The only one available for doing such a thing would be my wife's my wife's laptop, which gets used an awful lot during the day, so I can't really take that away from her in order to do this either. So that's not, I mean, I like the idea, but unfortunately at the moment it's not particularly practical. We'll just chop this one down through here. We're not doing too bad with getting all these trees down. I reckon we should be able to cut the rest of them today. That's what I'd like to do. I want to cut all the rest of them today. Also, the last 3 remaining deciduous trees over the other side of the patch of trees that we've got left here. You all said, what on earth are you talking about, Frith? Of course you're going to have to move them manually and do it properly. That's the whole point of this series. There was not one single person that liked the idea of me doing them quickly and just getting them out of the way. Not one single one of you thought that was a good idea in any way, shape or form. You all seemed quite horrified by the idea. So, yes, I will remove those properly as well. And lesson learned, I won't suggest that we take such hideous shortcuts anymore in the future, because every shortcut that I suggested, like avoiding some of the wood chips and things like that, yeah, I was met with absolute horror and disgust by anybody that is watching this series. So you've made it absolutely clear that no shortcuts are allowed, no quarter shall be asked, and no quarter shall be given. Everything shall be done exactly and properly and how it should be. Right, let's chop that one there. I know that it's currently right through another tree, so it'd be interesting to see what it's going to do. Is it going to catapult off the map? That's going to be the next thing. Nope, it's just shoved it off to the side. That's actually quite good. Okay, we'll come over here like this, and then we run up along the tree here like that. Oop. I don't want to do that. That one's still attached, so it moves. They do move a little bit when they're attached to the ground. Let's chop that one there. It's very weird seeing it move while it's lying flat on the ground. I know they move while they're up in the air, but it is very weird seeing it move while it's like that. And we'll chop that one through right there, I think. And I'll do a couple more around me, and then... Right, see this one here, I want this one to go the other way, and I think that's... Oh no, it's not too heavy. There we go. But yeah, I did say about why these trees were lighter, but going and having a look at FDR logging and all the stuff that he does, all of the mods that he's made, it just is sort of, it's not meant to break realism. He's not meant to you're not meant to be picking the trees up by hand, which is why he's made them ever so slightly lighter. But he's got all of these different mods that he's made. Some of them do struggle with the full weight trees. That kind of makes them joggle around in a very unrealistic fashion, and are inclined to sort of start catapulting themselves off across the map, which I think you could all agree is highly unrealistic. So he's found that by modifying the actual map and lowering the weight of the trees, he doesn't get issues like that, and that makes the overall experience a lot more realistic. So that is why the logs are lighter on his maps. And I've won, and quite pleased about it, because it just makes our life a little bit easier. Although, if you've got the lighter trees, the one thing it does do is, like, it gives a slightly unrealistic performance when you're dragging that trailer loaded up with logs is going to be a slightly unrealistic performance. Because we're going to be able to take more logs than that tractor would realistically be able to pull. Some of you are doubting whether that tractor would be suitable, and I got to admit, I'm also doubting whether or not that tractor is going to be suitable. But we'll wait and see. It might actually be okay, and I know that we'll take into account we got lighter logs, but I think overall it's still going to be fine. Even though there's lighter logs, I think we can just we can ignore some of the little details, and I'm still going to be doing things properly, as you have all demanded. You have all said absolutely clearly, do not take shortcuts. They will not be tolerated. You will be named and shamed if you try to take shortcuts, Mr. Frithgar. So I will not take shortcuts. Let's take that one off of there. I'm seriously considering that Silo King thing, though, because, you know, the amount of wood chips that we've got here in this bit, that one taking 16,000 litres at a time is very cool. I like this idea. I think, though, really, we'll use the Joskin thing this time. We'll go around and we use that one. I'm planning to leave the stumps as they are, and then I'm going to go and get them all with that yellow Stump Grinder and plough combination thing that we got on the Ford at the moment. But what I'm going to do is sort of leave that up to you. If we do, in this series, have time to get back to doing another section where we actually clear a load out, I can go back through and I can do all the stumps manually with the smaller Stump Grinder, the red one, and then go and pick up all of the wood chips from them at the end, if you want to. And that bit, I know we get a few wood chips as well from the stumps, but it takes so long to go around and do them. I didn't think that it was actually, the time versus money scenario thing, that you've always got to weigh up time versus money. And I don't think the time versus money pays off for using that small Stump Grinder. So we'll leave that one for now. And if we had a lot less money and we didn't have the timber coming in, then yes, that would be a bit different. If we had to sort of earn a little bit of cash to start with by just selling wood chips, then yes. And really all we're doing with it is we're stockpiling the wood chips back so that we can make money later on. And, I mean, that could very well end up being extremely profitable. We could make an absolute fortune out of that. Not sure if we're going to, but we could. There's the potential there. We've got potential for making a fortune. Now, come up onto that one there. Ooh, okay. Dancing on the log. We've got a log roll now. Run this one all the way up through like that. There we go. Right, there's another tree done. Take that one there. I'm very excited about this because we're getting so close now to actually being able to go through with the plough. We've tested the plough. We know the plough works, but it's the ability to be able to go around and actually do the whole lot. Now, some people have said, why don't I do mow the field first before I go and plough it all up? Because we've got grass on here. that would require me going and removing all of the stumps separately before I do any mowing, and that's the one thing that I don't really want to do because of how time-consuming that is. And I'm also, even though I'm having a lot of fun doing the series exactly like this and doing it sort of slowly and steadily like this, I'm also aware that we do have limited time for this series. And I do at least want to be able to plough and do a few bales and maybe a crop or two before we finish this one up. I mean, yes, when we get to the next series, I could very well have the next series running for an entire year and doing a very large section of the map. And quite frankly, I suspect that some of you will get thoroughly bored with watching me do various different farming, just very similar type of gameplay over and over for a very long time. But then on the other hand, you may actually like it. You do seem to enjoy this series far more than I thought you would. I still can't believe that everybody, so many people seem to actually really enjoy this. All I've been doing so far is I haven't really done anything very different. I've just been going along and cutting trees, picking them up and selling them. Cutting trees, picking them up and selling them, and you all seem to really, really like it. This has genuinely surprised me. I didn't think that there would be enough variation of gameplay to make this a particularly interesting series. I thought it would be a little bit more niche than it is, but apparently there's quite a lot of you that do really enjoy this, and this is fantastic. It's fantastic for you as well, because it means I'm going to have another go at this in the next game, as I've already said several times now. Where we want to go there. So we've just got those few trees left in the middle. The deciduous trees back here, we're going to take them down as well, but I'm just trying to think. What we'll probably do is we'll cut them, and then put the chain round them, drag them back over that way, and then chop them up in order to drop them into the lake. So let's come over here and take out these few trees over on this side a minute. And we'll go into there. I think we should easily be able to cut down all of the trees. The 3 deciduous ones I'm not worried if we don't get those cut down today. And those we can always do in tomorrow's episode. Just sort of do them at the beginning, or if we've not got time to actually take all of the timber away today, we can finish taking the timber away and then chop down the deciduous ones and drag them back. But those we're going to put the winch on them, and we'll drag them back over to the mill, and we'll do it that way. Put that one right about there, I think. So we get them over to the mill. They'll be chopped up over there and then sold. Let's bring you back over to here, and then that'll be it. Once we've done that, that'll be it, and then we'll get hold of our Ford and we can start ploughing. The ploughing is going to be a fairly slow process because we've also got all the stumps that we've got to take care of, plus all the little bits from the stumps as well. The bits from the stumps I'm not so worried about because they'll always they may just sort of get pushed away and pushed out of the way, which is not really going to hurt anything. Put that one up there. They don't damage the machinery, we know that much. And we can always try and pick them up later on. I don't know if that's even going to be a thing that we can do. So put that one about there, I think. There's a lot of money lying on the ground right now. We've got a lot of money lying on the ground here. You see all of these logs that we've got. There is a huge, huge amount of money that is now lying right here. And I think this is absolutely fantastic. So let's get you there. Take that one down. And that's it's the little sort of clump that I said out this side. We've got, who was it? Somebody told me, Scott M. He went and figured it out. He did a rough count of the ones in this area and then extrapolated that across the entire map. And has given me an estimate of, actually I can't remember, I think it was roughly 30,000 trees across the entire map. 30,000 trees across the whole map. Does that sound about right, Scott? I can't remember now. I did read your comment with great interest, actually, because he showed all the working. And then he said that he's actually started playing on this one himself. I've inspired him to start playing the map himself, and he's gone and had a look at it, and he counted the trees in his areas. 330 trees in this area that we're cutting down. 330! That's insane. I've also gone and had a look. Now, I'm not sure if we get more money for the lake versus the actual sawmill. I don't know if that's a thing on this one. I still haven't been able to find confirmation on that one either way. I haven't, well, to be honest, I didn't really look that hard. But one thing I do know is several people have said in the comment section that you feel it's a bit faster me dropping them off at the sawmill, regardless of whether we get more money. And it's also safer. Pulling up alongside there and hoiking them in, rather than trying to drop them in the lake, is a lot safer. Plus, you then don't have the realism breaker of the log sinking to the bottom of the lake, which they wouldn't do in real life. They would float on the top. So most of you seem to be of the opinion that I should be putting them into the actual sawmill and not throwing them in the lake, just because of realism. And I'm inclined to agree with you on that point, so we'll do that. And even with the deciduous trees, I'll do that as well with them. If that's what we're doing, then I'll do it with the deciduous ones as well. Although, I mean, I think we can still use the ramp and still chuck some stuff into the lake, just not look at the fact that they're sinking to the bottom rather than floating. And yeah, I know that a lot of sawmills do actually use a lake in order to float logs into their infeed. So that bit itself is quite realistic. It is very often done, and it's a good way of like handling the timber, feeding into any kind of sawmill, and it does happen a lot. There's I don't know about the UK so much, but certainly in the US and Canada, I've seen quite a few different documentaries about how sawmills are run and stuff, and I've seen the infeeds from a lake or from a river on a very regular basis. Something that I do in, well, it's not actually necessarily in my spare time, but when I'm editing, and there's bits of editing that take a long time, they require regular input, but they don't actually require me to be able to hear or watch anything in particular. It's just quite a slow, drawn-out process for going through quite a few of the different steps. And so I watch videos on YouTube, and most of what I watch is actually documentaries. I find documentaries to be absolutely fascinating. I watch documentaries on all kinds of subjects. I've told you before that I like watching like the primitive technology type videos. I really, really enjoy those. There's quite a few channels now that do those types of videos. And I also like documentaries about what life used to be like in various different times, from living in the Ice Age, through the Stone Age, through Iron Age, medieval times, and also life now in various different parts of the world, different jobs, different things, how different things are done. And I'll just type in documentary, narrow the filters down to anything more than 20 minutes, so you don't get like the 5-minute clips of different documentaries. So you got like, I got something that I can sort of get my mental teeth into, and I'll watch that, and it's just amazing what you can learn about the world. It really is. You watch a documentary about something completely unusual, completely different. It's amazing the kind of things that you can uncover, that you can learn, that you just didn't realize even existed. So I've watched a lot of these types of things, and I've seen in... It's been quite a while since I watched anything to do with logging, but I have seen the odd video with logging in it, and how the whole procedure is done. You know, huge, great big trees are cut down, and it's carefully planned, and they're pulled out of the wilderness, and so on and so forth. And it's absolutely amazing. And watching the sawmills working, and seeing them working, where the logs, you get massive, great big rafts of logs coming in off the lakes and the rivers, and being fed into the sawmill like that. And they just float right in, and it's really cool the way that they have it all set up. It's absolutely brilliant. So there's another one that I do like to watch. I've got so many logs here, I'm starting to lag out a little bit. I'm hoping that I am actually going to be able to finish this task. I'm going to be very disappointed if I cannot get the last of the logs on the ground before I start picking some of them up. Just run up through there and grab you. But yeah, it's the number of logs that I've got here in this section here. It's starting to lag me a bit. It might be wise if I was to at least pick up a trailer load or two and get rid of them, because every time I move now, I'm getting little... It's sort of lagging me a bit. I can't have more than 20 trees left to cut down. I really can't. Look down around here. What do we got? I'm ignoring the deciduous ones for a minute. I'd be surprised if I got more than 20 here. 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15... 16 trees left to cut. I'm going to risk it. Even though I'm getting little bits of lag, I think most of it is just where I'm getting a few of the trees sort of landing one on top of the other. And these are moving a little bit away from the rest of them. So we had 16 trees left to cut. That is it. That is all we've got left. Ooh. Okay, it is genuinely struggling every time the tree has to move. Maybe it would be a good idea if I was to pick a few up first. Because that is, yeah, that's really all right. Let's not risk the game crashing. Let's go and get the tractor and we'll load up. We'll do a couple loads of logs, and then we can come. It would be a bit more sensible. With the last thing we want is the game to crash. Let me just cut that one in half there. And just to be on the safe side, I think I might save the progress. No, let's not worry about that. I'm going to come over to here, and I suppose it would be a good idea if I saved it. That would just be sensible. Right, so we've got, if I switch here, I want to switch over onto this one. We got, we're working on the left-hand side at the moment. Just want to stay on there. I want to switch that round to the right. Look at all of the logs that we've got on the ground there. That is just fantastic. There's loads of them. That's brilliant. Right, we'll haul this one out round here. Now, if I want to be working on the right-hand side, don't I? So I want to spin this one round. And we'll go like that. And we'll stop there, and we'll switch that one over. So we want to go to O, so that goes to the right side. And then start auto load, which is B. And then we just slowly start working our way up through. Right, and you just got to go steady. This is our first log. And yes, we have got some serious lag from all of this. So I think that loading up a load of these is definitely a good idea. This going to clear a few of them out, and it's just going to stop some of these little bits of lag that we're starting to pick up here. And of course, loading them up at the moment is not really much of an issue. But it's not really that much different to using the forward. But once we get a move on, once we start moving back towards the main sell point over there, this tractor's really going to come into its own, because we're going to be enjoying that new maximum speed that we've got, which is why we went and bought this one in the first place. That new high speed is going to make a significant difference to performance. And it means that we're going to be able to move log. We're going to be able to move the logs that much faster, that much quicker, and that much more efficiently, which is going to increase our profit, our dollars per hour. And naturally, most of these operations do just that's what they boil down to, is dollars per hour. That's what we're all about. Even though the people around here blacklisted us, chose never to allow us to lease anything whatsoever, just because of one teeny tiny mistake, which wasn't really our fault, because we didn't really know what we were doing with the machinery. So it was all their fault, not our fault. Just because of that, they think that yeah, well, I think it's absolutely terrible. Right, we'll back down here a minute, and I'm going to start going back over this way again. But I'm still loading on the left-hand side, so I'm going to press B, and then I'm going to press O so that it switches over to the other side. I'll press B again. We're now loading on the right-hand side. So then I'll come along here like this, and we should get that log there. There we go, see? Loading on the other side. And if you switch sides, it does, I think it will automatically switch off the auto load anyway if you switch sides. But now you just got to watch it a little bit, because it'll stack up really high with this one. And honestly, I don't think we should be going much higher than this anyway, because we're getting to the point of sort of fully laden. So we go like that, and then we'll set off again. So we're going to be wanting to unload on the right hand side, sorry. So I will press O to switch it over. It's not actually going that fast, is it? Right? I suppose actually it's building up speed. It's building up towards the 26 miles an hour that we've got as a top speed on his tractor. Takes a while to get there, but it does do it. So we've got the potential with this tractor for being able to get a reasonable turn of speed, which I do like. I like that. We'll bring you in there like that, and we'll stop. Take those straps off, and then we press Z, and it will start unloading our first load. I'll go and get one more load after this, so that we've got... There we go, that's all done there. We're up to 48,000. We had 24. We've just got 24 grand for that load, which makes me think that maybe we are getting a little bit more from here than we do for chucking them in the lake anyway. I suppose it really matters all that much. Anyway, whether we're getting more or not doesn't really make a huge difference. We're going to put them in there because that would seem to be the better option, because then we don't have them like sinking to the bottom of the lake like stones, when technically they wouldn't really be doing that. So we'll come in round here and we'll get another load as well, so that we can avoid this horrible lag issue that we're getting. There we go. There is the first one. And I need to come in round like that a bit. As long as you go slowly, you can pick them all up. And yes, I know that this isn't realistic using an auto load, but this is one unrealistic shortcut that I've said right from the beginning that I will be using. This is one that I do insist on using, because I don't want to be loading all of these manually all the time. I don't really get on that well with the cranes. I might do some with cranes in FS19. We'll see how it goes. Mainly because, to start with, there's not going to be an auto load trailer, is there? And it does depend how long before we do. I'm absolutely certain we'll get them. Whether or not it'll be made by Mahu, or whether somebody else will write the script this time round, I'm not really sure. We know that Mahu wrote this script the first time round, and the guy has put in a huge amount of stuff, but I'm not sure if he's still modding. I did hear a rumour somewhere that he decided to stop doing mods after he wrote the auto load script, and he decided that he wasn't going to be doing very much more in the way of modding after that. Well, not after the auto load. There were a few other bits and pieces that he did add into the game, but yeah, he decided that he wanted to... Right, if I just press O to switch sides, go to the right side, yeah, it automatically switches off the auto load, and then you've got to start it again. He's not... I heard a rumour that he's not modding at the moment. Whether he's going to come back to it later on, I'm not really sure. I mean, I hope he does, because the auto-load log script is possibly one of the greatest scripts in the game. The other thing, several people pointed out last week that I did go and take the time and effort to install the tape measure mod, and then I hardly used it. The reason I hardly used it was because I only wanted the tape measure just to get a rough idea of what the logs were. I didn't actually intend to be using it on every log. And also, as far as the logs are concerned, and selling them, exactly 8 meters is not the the most profitable one. Well, 8 meters is profitable, okay, but it's not the... It doesn't have to be exactly 8 meters. There's leeway each side. It's between 7 and 10 meters, I think. You get roughly 120% of the total value of the log. So long as you're keeping them between 7 and 10 meters, you're getting you're getting the best possible value for wood that you can get. If under 7 meters and over 10 or 11 meters, the actual value starts to drop again. But if you get them inside that magic number, you get a good return on them. So up to 11, I think it's either up to 10 or up to 11 meters. You get the best prices, and then after that, you only get like 100%. Or 60%. If you go all the way up to like a 16-meter tree, so you just do the entire tree all in one go, you get a lot less money, and it's not really worth all the time and the effort. Well, say it's not worth it. It is still worth it. It's just maybe not worth it quite as much. This one is... don't get me wrong, I like this tractor. I like the look of this tractor. I think it does look very good, but I'm not sure about... I think we'll be selling this tractor, and we'll be getting something else. So I'm going to stop that one there, and we're going to go over here. We're going to fell the rest of the trees now. We've taken 2 loads out. That should help us with the lag a little bit. But I'm thinking that the Massey down there, that one's going to have to go. It's just not quite powerful enough to be able to pull the trailer properly. It's a bit of a shame, because I do like that Massey. I'm just wondering what the other one... The other one isn't a forestry option, but it may actually be worth our investment. If we go... Where is this? Where are they? There we go. It was that one. We've got this one here that we bought. This one goes up to 24 miles an hour. This one is 24 miles an hour as well, 124 horsepower. No, that's actually the same. Because this one here, we changed it. We changed it to the 3... Oh, no, that's 104. The 399. We got the 399 on that one, and we put it as a standard with 4-wheel drive. But that's only 104 horsepower, and the reason I got it like that is because I wanted the forestry design. So that's 104 horsepower, whereas that one there, design is literally a dual beacon or standard, so it doesn't have the forestry option. I got road tires, twin wheels... I don't know about twin... yeah, I think really you'd want just standard wheels. I'd say standard wheels on that one. No front loader attachment attachers. Adding the front linkage could be good. But still, it's only 124 horsepower, and I think it would struggle with anything particularly meaningful. Which is why I don't really want to use that one. Now, the other one that I said that I wanted to use, that a lot of people actually said you'd really like to see me using this one, is the Kirov. 220 horsepower. Now, this is slow. The only downside to this one is it's slow. We could put twin wheels on this one. I love the idea of having this thing with twin wheels. It's absolutely fantastic. However, it's slower than the Ford. The Ford is a beast of a tractor, and the reason that we changed it over was because it was slow, and this one's even slower. This one's only 18 miles an hour. So maybe we'll leave the Kirovits for now, and we could always come back to that one a little bit later on. We've got another Ford there, but there's still a small light one. This one I like the idea of, 160 horsepower, but it's only 9 miles an hour. You know, that is, again, it's a slow and steady type thing rather than anything speedy. We've got the Fendt line up there. Deutz is something that I haven't used for a while. I quite like the idea of using one of the old Deutzes, one of those there. Didn't really want to get into class this time, although that case. Now, that being said, you've got the classic case down here. We've got that Hurleyman there, which is only 88 horsepower. So with that one, we'd disregard straight away. We've got the old New Holland there, 125 horsepower. That doesn't have any extras, or at least not for boosting up the size of the engine. So really, we'd disregard that one. But it's this case right here. And, well, the Deutz Agristar, the 6.6, but the case 1450, 1455, right there, right? This is one that has been the mainstay of Farming Simulator 17 for quite some time. That's quite a beast of a tractor, but it's also got a beast of a price tag on it, and that's the eye-watering part of it. So, again... It's cost. That's what we're looking at, is we're looking at cost. And we got the old Bura here. Now, this is one that I was seriously considering this one. We've got, that's the 6 So what do you got? Oh, you got the 6135A, which is 135 horsepower, or you got the 6105, which is 100 horsepower. So that one right there, and then you got design, what's farm tech? Fent green, oxide, oh, it's colours. Scotty, sepia brown, standard. I don't know what any of those are. Oxide red, no, we would go with standard. We would use the Bura like this. Now this one's got front linkage, 135 horsepower, $58,000. I think that might be the one to go for. I'm not sure if that one is still in the mod hub. It was in the mod hub, that's where I got it from. But I do have some mods here that used to be in the mod hub, but are no longer there, which is a great shame. I don't know why they were removed, but there are a few of them that are no longer available on mod hub for everybody to use, and I've got them. It's one thing that I do, I was doing, I don't do it anymore, was I would install every mod that was released on mod hub. And that way I do have a few mods that are no longer on there. They were removed, and I've still got them in my mod folder. So if you once you've downloaded them, you've got them to keep, even if they take them off the mod hub again. So I do have a few like that kind of made their way into my folders, but not that many. Most of the ones that go on there, they stay on there. And then after a while, I started to get so many mods sort of accumulating, and it was getting so difficult to go through the list whenever I started a new map, and in order to select all the right ones, even just finding some when I was setting it all up, that I stopped doing that, and I actually removed a few of them as well, because quite frankly it takes ages to go through, and I'm really hoping they do tidy that up a little bit, and at least like put it into sections for your own mod collection, for when you're starting things up at the beginning of the new games, because at the moment, it's a little bit cumbersome. When you've only got, like, 20 mods, it's easy. You scroll down through the list, you pick out the ones you want. When you've got 200 mods, it makes life a little bit more difficult. It takes a long time to go through the list. If you had them divided into sections, like they are on the actual mod hub, that would make life a lot better, a lot easier. Right, we have run out of time for today's episode. We're going to have to carry this on next time. We'd take a bit of time out to go and sell some logs, but we don't have many trees left. We will finish cutting the trees down in our next episode, and we will also remove all the trees as well. I will have a look through those tractors, and we've got to decide which one we want. Which one is going to be our mainstay tractor? I'm still seriously considering the Kirovits, although that could be quite interesting because I'm insisting on doing this series without the steering wheel. It would certainly be interesting trying to operate an articulated tractor without the steering wheel. That's a little bit more difficult than using. That's why I generally, back before I bought the steering wheel when I was doing the time-lapse series, I didn't use articulated machines. I tried to avoid using them whenever possible. But anyway. We'll worry about that in tomorrow's episode. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.